Very good evening, my dear students. On behalf of the Department of Commerce, DG Vaishnav College, under the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, I welcome you to the 7th day on this crash course on this GST. Today, we'll be having the class on e-waybill, theory and practical. It will be handled by Dr. KB Manikandan from the Department of Commerce, DG Vaishnav College. I think all of you must be knowing Dr. KB Manikandan is an academician, is a faculty with 14 years of experience. Apart from that, he is also a company secretary. Most of you do not know that detail. He is also a professional and he has been handling this professional classes for the past 2 to 3 years. So on behalf of the department, I welcome you to the class, sir. You can take over the proceedings. Sir, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Rakesh sir. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your welcoming address. Warm greetings. Welcome. Happy evening to all. Happy evening to all. I think this is the first class I'm going to handle with you with regard to the GST pertaining to our Goods and Services Tax Act 2017. Okay, anyway, the students already have the knowledge about the taxation. Particularly the final year students already have a knowledge about the income tax. Based on the income tax, we move on to the GST. 5th semester, 6th semester, you'll be having the income tax, that is direct taxation. There is indirect taxation, GST, and the act was enacted under the UPA government in the year 2017. Since the inception of GST in our India, you know what are the tremendous changes happen in our India. From the point of finance, from the point of economics, from the point of growth, that is economic growth, economic development, economic integration pertaining to our relationship between other countries. All the students well aware with the taxation, either from direct taxation or indirect taxation, whatever it may be, both are revenue. If you go for the statistician, the statistical survey clearly proves that compared to direct taxation, indirect taxation revenue collected by the government is more. What I am saying that prior to COVID-19 pandemic, even after COVID-19 pandemic, the GST revenue collected by the union government is more than the direct taxation. Whatever it may be, the students so aware with the taxation and they studied the taxation from the scratch, either it may be income tax or indirect tax or customs or excise or service taxes, whatever it may be. As this class is not a first class, you already have a thorough knowledge about the GST, Goods and Services Tax. Different authors wrote the books in different way. Different teachers handled the classes in different ways. Whatever it may be, but information is constant. Information is constant. At any point of time, information will not change. But the way of communication, the way of approach may differ. But final destination will come constant. So Goods and Services Act was enacted in the year 2017. In the year 2011, the GST bill was enacted. But due to some political pressure and due to government interference, the GST Act was not enacted by the central government. Even from the year 2011, I handled GST. What is GST? What are different types of GST exemption? But that time GST was different. This time GST was different. Not from the point of revenue, from the point of inception of the concept. What is GST? What are the exempted GST? If you are going to go through the statistical survey, last year GST exempted goods and services was different. This year GST goods and services was, that is exemption level was different. Similarly, we have the rates, tax rates. What are tax rates we have? 0.25%, 3%, 5%, 12%, 18%, and 28%. 6 different types of taxation, tax rates was enacted. If you are going to see each and every tax will be having bulk of goods and services. If you take 0.25 and 3%, the very, very limited number of goods and services are there. If you take 5%, if you take 12%, if you take 18%, if you take 28%, that is the luxurious products rates. We have more than 50 or 70 or 80 different types of goods and services comes under the preview of 5 to 28%. Precious stones, gold, it comes under the head 0.25% and 3%. But other than the precious gold, other than the gold, we have 5, 12, 18 and 28%. Unless or otherwise the students understand the concept, tax rules, tax provisions, you couldn't work out the problem. So we'll be having the same, what income tax, we have theory, we have practical implications, tax provisions and problems. The same thing is also applicable for GST. In GST also we'll be having concept, we'll be having tax provisions, we'll be having the tariff rate for the tax rate, and we'll be having some problems. But working out the problems is second hand, that is second level. Before you are going to work out the problem, the students will be so aware with the tax provisions. What is GST? What are the implications of GST? You know what is the difference prior, that is pre-COVID-19 and post-COVID-19? That is very important to you because now we are in the post-COVID-19 pandemic. Prior to COVID-19, that is prior to March 2020, what was GST? What is GST? That is very, very important. Because in between March to October, there will be no so much of improvement or development in GST. If you are going to see nowadays, after the pandemic, or that is September 12th, 2nd or 3rd week, a small development in GST collection, particularly the revenue collected by the government, that is central government, pertaining to GST is more compared to the previous year. And prior to COVID-19, the revenue was increased. That's why in GST Council, the members, who is the chairperson of the GST Council? Finance Minister. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was a chairperson for GST Council, and the members of the state finance minister are the members of the GST Council. Once the revenue collected by the government from insisting or imposing the 28% rate, automatically they comes down to 18%. If you go through any book published in the previous year, 2018-19 or 2019-20 or 2020-21, there's a small difference between the rates. Please go through the news. Please watch the news. Unless otherwise you watch the news, you wouldn't get any information pertaining to GST. Once the government earned the revenue by imposing 28% rate to the general public, automatically the finance minister announced some of the tax rates, what are all the rates comes under the head 28%, what are the products and services comes under the head 28%. Some items they move to the 18% slab rate. The movement of one slab rate to next slab rate, that is 28% slab rate to 18%. Why? Because the revenue collected becomes more revenue collected by the government, by the central government, by imposing the GST tax rate at rate of 28%. So this is the way by which the student should analyze the practical implication of GST. Just understanding GST, what is GST? What are different types of GST? What are different categories of GST? What are the tax? No, that is second, that is base one. These are all the things you people already well known about them. It is not necessary to enter into this. But as a student of commerce, as a student of tax, you must be so aware with what the tax implication practical is, particularly pre-COVID and post-COVID 2019. So this is the way by which we have to analyze GST. And from the first class, the students already understand the concept of supply. See, in our body, which part is very important? Eyes is very important, heart is very important, nose is very important, ears is different. See, different parts have their own benefits, but two eyes, that is very, very important in our body, particularly in our face. Two eyes is very important. One eye is supply and another eye input tax credit. That is the face mask of GST. So first eyes indicates the importance of supply. Second eye gives the importance of input tax credit. A student must be aware with these two things. What is supply? What are the different classification of supply? And what are tax implications of supply? How the GST given importance to supply, and how supply dominate the position of the GST. Then similarly, we move on to the input tax credit. The input tax credit is the second post GST. As you are the supplier, if you are the receiver, okay. If you are the supplier, you should be aware that the input tax credit. Input tax credit is very, very important mechanism in GST. So supply, input tax credit, reverse charge mechanism. These are all the important topics comes under the GST. And in this week, you go through all these. Then we move on to the e-way bill. Today we are going to discuss only with the e-way bill. What is e-way bill? What are the advantages of e-way bill? What are the principles of e-way bill? Who are all the persons involved in e-way bill? Why e-way bill came into existence? Is there any conditions levied by the GST Act 2017? If any act impose some restrictions, what are the restrictions? What are the conditions? Who are all the persons involved in the e-way bill? So, before students should analyze the concept of e-way bill, first the students be aware with the goods, product. We called as goods and services tax. So, goods is very important. Service is very important. Apart from this, movement of goods from one place to another, that is very, very important. That is the way by which we are going to start with the e-way bill. Before I want to make the important role played by the e-way bill, I want to make you people to understand the basic concept of GST in Word document. So just I want to share Word document file as a PowerPoint in a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so wait for 2 minutes. I hope the students can visit the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So, Goods and Services Act, GST Act 2017. How the GST Act was enacted, for what purpose the GST Act was enacted, and particularly in indirect tax, what are all the taxes which are totally abolished in the place of GST? That is very important. At any sort of time, the customs duty cannot be abolished. Any goods imported or exported from one country to another country, that is particularly any goods imported by one country, the country should pay the tax in the name of duty. So we call as import duty or customs duty, because customs duty is a combination of both export duty and import duty. So import duty refers to what? Duty or amount paid by the importer while importing the goods from another country. So customs duty, no compromise. Whereas GST, excise duty, 75 to 80% of excise duty, then services tax, then VAT, we call as value added tax, then CST, Central Sales Tax Act. So for these place, GST was placed. So GST will be placed only in the name of excise duty, Services Act, CST, and VAT. So now we move on to the introduction to the GST. So these are all the key features. It's a dual tax system. It's a combination of CGST and SGST. C refers to central, S refers to state. So central goods and service tax and state goods service tax is a destination-based GST. If you are earned the income, then only you know the importance of income tax. Unless you earned any income, naya paisa, you couldn't understand what is meant by income tax. The same thing, the GST. Destination-based GST. What is meant by destination? Once you receive the product, once you receive the goods, once you enjoy the benefits of services, then only you are going to pay. So that is what we called as destination-based GST. Otherwise, we call it as it's not a GST at all. The GST is a destination-based GST. Then consumption-based tax. What is consumption? Once you utilize, then only called as consumption. So consumer, who may be called as consumer? The person who consume the goods we called as consumer. So commodities may be consumption-based tax. Once you consume the product, then only you are going to pay the tax. So that tax we called as GST. So GST is basically consumption-based tax. And fourth one, common-based tax. All over the India, GST rates is common. Looks similar to income tax, looks similar to customs duty. GST is applicable elsewhere in India, from east to west, north to south, central. Similarly applicable for the uniform tax system. At any sort of time, it won't change. So uniform tax system. And point number 6, tax made only in e-mode. What is mean e-mode? Electronic mode. It is not necessary to pay the tax by check or anything or cash. So nowadays all the payment, GST, including income tax or excise duty, even telephone bill, whatever it may be. If you have the mobile phone and proper net connection, and if you have the laptop with proper net connection, it's more enough to transfer the amount. So tax made only in e-mode. The word is very important. Only in e-mode. No cash payment or no personal payment. Cascading. What is cascading effect? No cascading effect. Tax on tax. You know what is mean by that? Once upon a time you heard what is mean by the term value-added tax. So once you sell the product, say example, one duster in a college, we oftenly use, the teachers using the one equipment called, one item called, one material called duster. So duster consisting of 2 items, wood and so the wood, from one place to another, it moves. Whatever amount you pay, say example 10 rupees, 1% on 10 rupees. So 10 rupees into 1%, 10 plus 1, 11 rupees. Again, that product move from one place to another. 11% into 10%, 1.1, 12.1. So this is the way by which you are going to pay the tax. Already you pay the tax. On the tax, again you are going to pay. That is what we call as tax on tax. That is what we call as tax on tax. The concept called cascading effect. Only to evade the tax on tax concept, only to evade the cascading effect, the GST was enacted. So the very, very important thing, the very, very important advantage of GST is no cascading effect. Next, cross credit between central government and state government cannot be allowed. Cross credit. That's why any movement of goods from one place to another, within the district, within the city, within the territory, within the region, within the state, or state to state, you already know any movement of goods, any movement of product from one state to another state, automatically integrated GST will be applicable. If not, then CGST and SGST, whatever tax rate fixed by the union government, particularly GST Council. I think you know the GST rate fixed only by the GST Council, not by the government. That is very important thing you have to be remembered. At any point of time, GST rate, if they want to raise, if they want to reduce, or if they want to maintain the same rate, only the GST Council will decide. No other government will interfere. It may be central government or state government or union government, whatever it may be. Only the GST Council is the supreme power to control these kind of rates. So no movement or no credit will be distributed to the central and state. Only whatever rate given divided by 2. So central government, state government. Say example 5% GST, 2.5% for central and 2.5% for state government. Then tax levied from production to consumption. You already know one concept called excise duty, indirect tax, central excise duty. The Central Excise Act was enacted in the year 1944. Since the inception of this act, excise duty was levied only on the produced product. Say example, finished goods. In a manufacture, once the product gets ready for sale, in the time the tax rate will be levied, that is duty will be levied. That duty we called as excise duty. Any movement from one place to another, here one factory to another, one manufacturing center to another manufacturing center, one duty will be levied. That duty we called as excise duty. So any duty imposed on production we called as excise duty. But now, since the year 2017, after once the UPA government undertaken this thing, automatically no duty on production, duty only on consumption. That's why we called as tax levied from production stage to consumption stage. Go to third point, consumption based tax. So tax levied from production to consumption. Therefore, GST is basically consumption based tax. Okay. Next. Point number 10. Hsn to be applied only for goods. What is the expansion for Hsn? Harmonized system nomenclature. Nomenclature refers to name. Harmonized system nomenclature to be applied only for the goods. It's not applicable for services. Next one. 13-digit PAN, permanent account number, based common TIN registration. TINXS, TINXSYS, that is tax information exchange system to track the system. So whenever, if you want to take any transaction, whether the goods move from one place to another, whether product producer send the production to the consumption is properly received by the consumer or not. See, these are all the things items clearly specified by the tax information exchange system with the help of radio magnetic. So we will discuss later how the information properly channelized through the information technology. Then 14th point, states to collect central GST for SSI less than or more than equal to 1.5 crores transferred to central government. Then dual tax for imports and zero tax rated for exports. Full tax credit on inputs, that is 100% set off input tax credit. Input tax credit, I already informed you, very important subject, very important concept. At any sort of time, don't forget to understand the concept of supply and ITC. Supply and ITC are the two eyes of GST. That's why full tax credit on inputs. You know what is tax credit? Whatever amount you pay, it will be reimbursed. Tax credit on inputs. What is my input? What is my output? Production. Once you produce and those produced goods are held for sale, we call it as inputs. Then output refers to the product goods which received by the consumer or retailer, whatever it may be. So 100%, whatever amount you pay, that will be set off through input tax credit. If you want to reimburse, if any amount, whatever you pay, that amount will be reimbursed to your same account, you are the member and you should be the registered dealer in our GST. If unless otherwise you are not a registered dealer, then you are not eligible to get into the ITC. So ITC, you should be the registered dealer. Then 16th point, items not to be included, that is totally exempted in GST. See, exempted GST, it's a very, 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 very low norm. It's a ocean. Exempted GST. At any point of transaction of GST, at any point of movement of goods from one place to another, it may be either goods or it may be of services, whatever it may be, exempted items, it comes under the head GST. It's very, very important. So we will be having a separate tariff, a separate column for exempted items in GST. So exempted goods in GST, exempted services in GST. So totally we will be having two things. Then to check tax evasion, the tax force has proposed an IT intensive risk intelligent network, that is RIN. You know what is the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance? Both are the same concept. At any sort of time, the taxpayer, that is assessee, is not interested to pay the amount. So the intention for tax evasion, the intention for tax avoidance, both are same, but a small difference between tax evasion and avoidance. Tax avoidance, you want to reduce the payment of tax liability, but you are going to pay the tax, but you want to reduce the payment of tax liability. Say example, 10,000 rupees the payment of tax liability, you want to pay only 7,000. So 3,000 rupees you are going to show the expenses. See, these are all the expenses. That's why my net profit shows so and so. That's why I'm going to pay less tax liability. Okay. Whenever any auditor will check your accounts, then you will be caught. Why is it unnecessary you raise the expenses? So if you are going to increase the expenditure in the debit side of P&L account, automatically the net profit will comes down. Whenever net profit will comes down, the payment of tax liability also comes down. Only to avoid this, automatically those expenses will be added with the net profit to show the true value of the net profit, that is income from business. The same thing is applicable. But a small difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax evasion, you want to evade the payment of tax liability. You didn't want to pay a single naya paisa to the income tax department. That is what we call as tax evasion. So this is the difference. And one more thing, tax avoidance is a civil liability, whereas tax evasion is a criminal liability. Okay. So these are all the important key features of GST. Okay. Why I want to include this slide to you people, important chapters in GST. See, as a student of GST, as a entry level, as you are the entry level in GST, you must be aware with what are other topics. Basic concept, supply, levy of GST, exemption, place of supply, time of supply, value of supply. See, supply plays an important role. The exemption, place of supply, time of supply, value of supply. Then reverse charge mechanism. That is very, very important thing. Actually, what is reverse charge mechanism? Whenever any goods move from one place to another, supplier will pay the amount. Supplier will take the responsibility for the payment of GST. In some circumstances or some situation, on behalf of supplier, receiver is going to pay the GST, the amount of GST. So in that time we called as reverse charge mechanism. That is also an important role played by the GST supplier and receiver. So it's just a flow. On behalf of supplier, receiver is going to bear the expense of GST. Then the amount will comes based on the ITC. So that is totally different from other charges. The reverse charge mechanism is, it's totally different from the above topics. Then input tax credit, ITC, it's utmost important topic. Whatever amount the supplier is going to pay as tax, that amount will be reimbursed in his account in the name of input tax credit. For that thing, supplier should be the registered supplier for the GST Act 2017. Composition special scheme. What are all the ways by which you are going to reduce the payment of tax liability, that is GST? What kind of exemption you are going to claim? Say example, medium scale enterprises, sometimes small scale industries, village industries, cottage industries, domestic industries. How much you are going to claim the exemption? How much you are going to pay the tax liability? So these are all the things comes under the head composition scheme and special scheme. Registration, at most important. Registration, each and every stage, the registration plays an important role. What is registration? Nowadays it comes e-registration. For marriage, marriage registration. For any purchase of or acquisition of property, registration. Purchase of house property, registration. Purchase of land, registration. So registration, very, very important. So for the registration, what are all the rules and regulations, bylaws, policies, procedures? So we'll be having separate lesson. Tax invoice, credit and debit note. E-way bill. Today we are going to discuss with e-way bill. Returns, tax payment and interest. Actually, e-way bill is not a very, very big concept. It's a very, 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 very small concept. But as you are the student of GST, you will become one day a businessman. Once you are the businessman, it is a duty to exchange the goods and services from one place to another. Any movement of goods through transportation, then you are going to register e-way bill. So e-way bill refers to electronic way bill. That will be discussed within 5 or 10 minutes. So returns, tax payment and interest. See, these are all the very, very important chapters in GST. Some of the items I don't want to mention, because if I am going to mention all the items in one slide, nobody will have interest to study. That's why I don't want to insist the slide to make more comprehensive. So just I want to start from basic concept up to returns, tax payment and interest. Yes. Levy of GST. What is levy of GST? Levy refers to impose of GST. Impose of GST by the GST Council towards all products and services in India. That is very, very important. Okay. What are the different three classifications? Interstate supply, intra-state supply, and intra-state supply for the heritage, that is union territory. So first one, interstate supply. One state or one union territory to another state to another union territory. Only IGST takes place. Integrated goods and services tax. Then intra-state supply. Supply within the state. It's applicable. IGST will not be applicable for intrastate. What is the difference between inter and intra? Inter, overall the nation, overall India. Any movement from Tamil Nadu to Kerala, Tamil Nadu to Andhra, Tamil Nadu to Delhi, or Delhi to Andhra, Delhi to Mumbai, or Mumbai to Chennai. These are all the things we consider interstate supply. Intra-state supply within Tamil Nadu. Goods moved from Chennai to Coimbatore. Move goods from Chennai, Coimbatore to Tirunelveli. This is what we call as intra-state supply. Supply within the state. So, to act CGST, Central Goods and Service Tax, and SGST, States Goods and Service Tax. So, these two will be applicable for intra-state supply. The last one, same thing applicable for union territory. Any movement of goods within the that is, movement refers to supply. Supply refers to exchange. So, any movement of goods from within the union territory, and CGST and UTGST will be applicable. These are all the GST rates, what I discussed in the previous class. That is previous half an hour back. We will be having 6 schedules. Schedule 1, 5%. Schedule 2, 12%. Schedule 3, 18%. Schedule 4, 28%, Schedule 5, 3%, and Schedule 6, 0.25%. So we'll be having 6 different GST rates. We'll be having 6 GST rates. Based on these rates, the products and services will be taxed. If you are going to read all the information, that is 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%, going on. It's a never-ending process. So I want to make few people to understand some of the items. Some items, if you earn, okay, these are all the items comes under the head 18%. These are all the items comes under the head 14. That is 28%. Some 12%. Some 5%. So construction work. If you take any other supply of works, if you take any job contract or job house, if you take any composite supply of works or any construction of apartments or commercial apartments, manufacturing of eatable items, perishable items, non-perishable items, durable items, non-durable. See, we will be having different types, particularly the 3% and 0.5, 2.5%. If you take example 3%, we will be having pearls, natural or filtered, whether or not worked on, graded, but on stand mounted at set water items. Dust and powder of natural synthesis, that is synthesis precious or semi-precious stones. Then we'll be having silver. It may be silver plated or without silver plated gold or platinum. These are all things comes under the head 3% slabbage. If you go for the 0.25%, particularly the diamond. So diamond, whether or not worked, but not mounted or such. Similarly, next item, semi-precious stones. So these are all things comes under the head 0.25%. And if you are going through the 5% or 12% or 18% or 28%, 28% only deals with the cosmetic, that is highly costly items. Luxurious products. Luxurious products comes under the head 28, that is 4th category. First category, second category, and third category lies the base level. Fourth category is the next level, that is luxurious products. Apart from this, fifth category and sixth category, diamonds. See, we are not the official oftenly consume the products called diamond. They're very rare. So only the big shots and the persons having more money, oftenly they purchase gold. First they prefer gold. Next they move on to the diamonds. For diamonds, 0.25%. For gold or somewhere else, 3%. If you take 5%, you'll be having meat, fish, put up in container or bearing a registered brand name, or skimmed milk powder, or chenna, paneer. So these are all the items comes under the head 5%. Mostly eatable items. Don't confuse yourself. 5% comes under the head eatable items. Straight away you go to hotel and have something, whatever it may be. If you are going to purchase the item, or if you are going to purchase and eat the items, whatever it may be, you have to pay extra 5%. At the end of your payment, there is invoice, acknowledgement. Say example, your hotel charge cross 1,000 rupees. So 1,000 rupees into 5%, 2.5% CGST, again 2.5% SGST, total 5%, 5% on 1,000 rupees. 5% on 1,000 rupees. You have to pay. As a customer, we should pay the amount. We are supposed to bear the amount of GST. That's why what the government say, no bribe or no other fraudulent practice takes place in the field of the business. So 5%, it's common. Whenever you are going to purchase any item, it may be eatable item or durable item, particularly from the hotel related item, automatically it costs 5%. Even textile articles, sometimes the textile articles, solar power, locomotive, or any railway or transway goods, or any other scientific or technical instruments. So these are all the things also comes under the head 5%. Sir, why I am going to stress this information to you people? Because the GST rate is very, very important in practical intervention. If I am going to explain more on ITC or more on supply or more on e-way bill, you are not a practical person. If you are the practical person, then I can explain more on e-way bill. See, where you are going to expertise GST, whenever you are going to purchase any item, particularly eatable items, as you are the age between 18 and 23, you prefer always outside food. Only 6 months time duration, you are having only the homely food. Homely food always good for health, but it's not good for your tongue. That's immediately you ran away to hotel and you are going to do something. You may purchase for the family, okay, whatever it may be. If you are going to purchase, please see your payment receipt. Please see the receipt. I advise the students, whenever I am going to teach GST to the students, I oftenly advise the students, whenever you enter into hotel or mall or any other shops, whatever it may be a durable item, even pet, whatever, please go through the receipt. How much you paid, how much the actual, how much the GST. So final amount it is your duty to pay. So it's not by the government. You are going to pay the amount. So this is the way by which you should so aware with the GST rate. That's why I want to explain more on the tax rates. So these are all the even the TV sets, the purchase of any capital assets, furniture, fixtures. If you want to purchase any cars, four-wheelers comes under 28% because it's a luxurious product. So this is the way by which I want to make you people to attentive in the GST rates. So this is the 5%, 12, 80, 28, 0.23%. Next, e-way bill. E-way bill, electronic way bill. Before you are going to study e-way bill, what are all the factors to be taken into consideration? What are all the factors which determine e-way bill? What are all the factors which dominate the e-way bill? First thing, Whenever any movement of goods from one place to another, not from this street to next street, or this area to next area, or this place to this place. The very, very important thing, from movement of goods from one place to another, and it exceed the value of goods 50,000, then it is the duty of the supplier, compulsory, mandatory. If they go for e-way bill, that is very, very important. So, as a student of GST, before you are going to start with e-way bill, one should so aware with the concept of transportation. Okay, before you are going to transport the goods, what are all the factors to be considered before you are going to transport the goods? First of all, you should have a proper goods, proper product. So first one, goods. Second one, movement of goods. How you are going to move? What kind of transport you are going to do? You are going to do this. So transportation will be having roadways, airways, seaways, then trainways. So train, buses, lorries, autos, whatever it may be. Then aeroplane, that is passenger, will be having two types of air for the passengers and for the cargo. Then cargo, then large one, railways. Any movement of goods from one place to another, and those goods consisting the value exceeding rupees 50,000, then you have to be registered in e-way bill. The e-way bill is the electronic way bill. Way refers to what? Whenever you travel from one place to another, that is we call as way. Where you are going to pay that what we call as e-way bill. Meaning, an electronic way bill, shortly we call as e-way bill, is a physical transport document for transport of goods which is incorporated under GST laws required for movement of goods from one place to another. It is basically a compliance mechanism by way of digital interface. The person causing the movement of goods upload the relevant information. It's a compliance mechanism. It's a governance. It's basically a governance. You know what is governance? Governance, corporate social responsibility. What is governance? Governance, nothing but check whether you are going to abide the rules and regulations. See, whenever you enter into the college, it is our duty to check whether you wear ID card or not. That is the governance. College governance, Gst Vaishnav College governance. What is the main governance? You should wear, not only you, it includes teacher also. Both lecturer, that is teacher, and student should wear the ID card. So for you people, we will check. For we people, principal sir will check. So this is the governance. The same thing is applicable for GST, any movement of goods from one place to another. So any movement of goods, we call it as a mechanism, is a compliance mechanism. What is meant by the word term compliance? Compliance refers to you are going to comply refers to you are going to submit all the information, necessary documents. So submission of necessary documents, the process itself we called as compliance mechanism. So an electronic way bill is a physical transport document for transporting goods from one place to another place, which is incorporated under GST laws required for any movement of goods, even if it includes services. Okay. Then second, it is basically a compliance mechanism by way of digital interface. What is my digital interface? If you are going to use your mobile phone with net connection, if you are going to use your laptop with net connection, then we call it as digital interface. Over. So digital interface through which you are going to do all e-way bill under compliance mechanism and upload the relevant information. What is upload the relevant information? Nowadays, the Google form plays an important and significant role among the students before going to write the examination. Particularly the CAA examination, all the teachers will send you a Google form. With the help of Google form, the students will upload all the information. What is your name? What is your roll number? What is your section? What is your mobile number? Email ID, blah, 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 all the information. Then they start with the question and you finish all the questions and submit the same to the particular sender. This is the way by which you go for the upload the information. The same thing is applicable. So while you cross one place, particularly whenever you travel from Chennai to Dindivanam or Chennai to Kanjipuram or any other state, we'll be having one center, toll tax. In toll tax, all the information, including the driver name, the registration number, the vehicle number, when it passed, and all the information is given. Based on this, you are going to pay the money. It's not applicable for two-wheelers or cycle or whatever. Maybe it's applicable only for the commercial vehicles. Okay. See, all the information, they are not uploaded. Just they type all the information. The same thing is applicable for e-way bill. Here it's applicable only for GST. Any movement of goods from one place to another and you travel this area, you have to compile all the things that we call as compliance mechanism. Through the digital interface, you are going to upload your name, your register number. For the students, with the help of roll number, you will be getting one register number. The register number helps you to write the examination. In the hall ticket, your registration number will be flashed. The same thing for GST, e-way bill, registration number for the supplier, registration number for the receiver. It's very, very important. And GSTIN. One of the concepts you should understand, goods and service tax identification number and network. GSTN refers to it's a network. Sometimes we call it GSTN, called as number. Actual number GSTIN, identification number. It consists of 13 digits, whereas for e-way bill 12 digits. So don't confuse. We will be having two different types of registration number. If you want to register your name, with your company name in GST Act 2017, you will be getting one number. That number consisting of 13 digits. It looks similar to the PAN. Whereas, while filing the e-way bill, the registration number will be 12. Only for the segregation purpose. Only for the differ purpose. They are segregated into 13 and 12. Next. Features of e-way bill. E-way bill is required, what I said 10 minutes back. E-way bill is required where the value of goods of a consignment, here consignment refer to product, consignment refer to goods, movement from any, if the goods kept in one place, that goods be called as good. That good should not be called as consignment. If that same good moved from one place to another, that good be called as a consignment. Is more than the value of consignment, more than 50,000 rupees, then e-way bill will be applicable. That is mandatory. Except job work, except goods meant for export, except goods imported, except goods for exhibition. Why, sir? E-way bill was applicable only for the consignment goods, value more than 50,000, not applicable for this thing. You know what is mean job work? Job work is only the contract basis. On behalf of you, you are going to, that is, you refers to, you are the business entity, you are the manufacturer. You will be having 10,000 lakhs and lakhs tons of goods. Due to time constraints, you are going to hand over some, you are going to delegate some work to the small concerns. Those are needy of financial transactions. Only to help those people, you are going to assign that work. That work with that persons we call as job work. So GS is not applicable for this thing, particularly e-way bill. Then any goods moved for export. If you are going to export any goods from India to China or India to, nowadays China is totally away. Any movement of goods from India to other countries, automatically the customs duty will be applicable. 90% of customs duty related to the import, but 10% of customs duty related to export. So we will be having, is there any duty for export? Yes, 100%. See, in India, particularly in the area Assam or Karnataka, they are the more and more growing for sandalwood. If you want to export any sandalwood or sandal related items, you have to pay the export duty to Indian government. Similarly, if you want to export any precious stones, you have to pay the export duty on precious stones. If you want to export any hides of snakes, then again you are going to pay the export duty to the central government. So for export duty or any exported items, e-way bill is not applicable. Then any imported goods. Once applicable for exports, also applicable for the imported goods. Any goods imported from other countries to India, and the e-way bill will not be applicable, because recently the government allowed the roadway from India to Pakistan. 2 years back, it's not applicable. No permission granted by the union government 2-3 years back. But recently, the route from, that is roadway from India to Pakistan, the government, the central government, the union government grants the permission. So any goods moved from Pakistan to India or India exported to Pakistan via roadways, it is not applicable. E-way will not be applicable. That's why I want to share the information to you. That's why I want to share the experiences to you, examples. Then any goods held for exhibition, demonstration, again the e-way bill will not be applicable. So point number 2, the e-way bill becomes mandatory from 1st April 2018, and it becomes uniformly applicable to all states in India. Since the year 2018, 2.5 years back itself, the e-way bill was enacted. Actually, GST was applicable only from the year 2017 in India. India adapted the new act called GST Act. But prior to 2017, the year 2019, 16, 1950, in the 50 years, 40 years back itself, GST was enacted. The GST Act was enacted, and the revenue collected from GST by Britain, by America, Netherlands, Scotland, Belgium, these are all the countries already enacted the GST Act. But in India, for 6 years, at least, actually the GST bill was implemented in India in the year 2004. From 2004 to 2011, they totally forgot. They don't want to take the GST due to some political interference and commitments. From 2011, again, the government, okay, we are going to implement GST, but till this time not at all implemented. Once the Modi government acquired the position of the political interference, immediately the Modi government announced that GST Act should be under the preview of President, President of India in the time, Pranab Mukherjee. In the time he was President of India, he enacted the GST Act in the year 2017. So within 7 or 8 months, the e-way bill was enacted. So from April 1st, 2018, that is April 1st refers to what? 2018-19, 2019-20, 2020-21. So we are in the third assessment year. Point number 3, e-way bill can also be generated or cancelled through SMS. So through SMS itself, you can cancel or generate the e-way bill. That's why I insist you, only the laptop is not necessary. Even if you have the mobile phone with net connection, is more enough for e-way bill. Then point number 4, when an e-way bill is generated, a unique e-way bill number, that is unique e-way bill refers to number, will be allotted and is available to the supplier, recipient and transporter. Here, I want make you people to understand GSTIN, EBN, e-way bill number, GST identification number, both are different. GST identification number consisting of 13 digits, whereas e-way bill number consisting of 12 digits. We'll discuss later. I want to show this slide part. And it's available for this. There are nearly 3 persons involved in the e-way bill. One is supplier, second one recipient, and third one transporter. Then we move on to the next one. Purpose of e-way bill. Sir, what purpose e-way bill was enacted? For what purpose we are going to pay the e-way bill? Is there any benefit? Is there any productive information? Yes, e-way bill is a mechanism. Is a mechanism to ensure that goods being transported comply with GST law, and is an effective tool to track the movement of goods and check tax evasion. Only for these two important provision, the purpose of e-way bill was invented. So only two purposes. First one, track the movement of goods. Whether the goods move from one place to another. Yes. How you are going to track? The e-way bill will ensure you. The e-way bill will give you the full data available whether the movement of goods from one place to other place is there or not. And is applicable also for tax check, the tax evasion. I already explained you what is tax evasion. Tax evasion refers to what? You didn't have any idea to pay a single paisa to the income tax department or GST department. So only to evade the tax evasion and track the movement of goods from one place to another place, the e-way bill was enacted by the GST Act in the year April 1st, 2018. Then advantages of e-way bill. What are the main advantages? Easy access to e-way bill portal by the supplier, recipient and transporter. How, sir? By using the mobile phone itself, you can easily generate the e-way bill, and similarly you can cancel general bill. 2-3 slides back itself I clearly explained you. So it's very easy access to e-way bill portal by the supplier, by the recipient and by the transporter. And point number 2, unique single document valid across the country. A single document. See, we'll be having enormous of upload. You can upload the certificate, you can do anything. While you enter into the college, e-admission, application form. Application form, once upon a time, through hard copy, our college office will issue. But nowadays, for 3-4 years, our college upload all the information pertaining to Vaishnav College, and you can type all the information, then upload whatever certificates they need. Immediately you can scan it. If maximum 1 or 2 states. But here, a unique single document for any transportation of goods from one place to another and valid for across the country. Then quick generation cancellation of e-way bill through by SMS. If you have the mobile phone itself, you can generate the e-way bill and cancel the e-way bill. To control tax evasion, and even you can track the movement of goods from one place to another. To ensure there is no pilferages of goods in transit and no mismatch of input tax rates. What is pilferages? There is no pilferages. Small theft. Small theft, we call this pilferages. So small theft of goods. If you are going to transport any biscuits or chocolates, some transporter will oftenly they put into their mouth the chocolates or biscuits or any badam or kaju or whatever it may be. So that is what we call a small theft. So no pilferages of goods in transit, and similarly there will be no mismatch of input tax credit. So input tax credit, whatever amount supplier is going to pay as the amount of GST, the same amount will be refunded or reimbursed in the account. That is, it will be credited. The name of input tax credit mechanism. Then free movement of goods throughout the country. The tracking of the movement of goods with radio frequency identification device, RGID, mapped with the vehicle. RGID is one kind of device, radio frequency identification device. Even nowadays, we use the Google map. In mobile phone, you can patch the mobile phone in your two-wheeler or in your car, that is four-wheeler. By seeing the road map, that is Google map, you can reach the destination. The same things are also applicable. Radio frequency identification device is one of the things which inserted or mapped with the vehicle. It clearly symbolizes, it clearly tells where the goods move. That is tracking of goods, tracking of movement of goods, where the goods move, where it's now, where now it's. So these are all the information available for the GST. e-way bill. Then provisions allowed for consolidation and extension of validity of e-way bill. Now, the paper itself, the e-way bill portal extended to November. The month of November is exempted. So, the provisions allowed for consolidation and extension of validity of e-way bill will be taken into consideration. Then easier for transit, checking by the authorized dealer. Easier for transit, checking by the authorized dealer of the movement of goods, whether goods is correct or not, whether proper goods came into existence, whether available products move from one place to another. All the information tracked with the help of RF, RFID, that is radio frequency identification device. Then last slide also clearly specified it helps for reducing the tax evasion. So e-way bill acts as a tax evasion tool. An e-way bill will act as an effective tool to check on tax evasion at various points and to track the movement of goods with the help of radio frequency identification number. Actually, it put a RFID, it put a RGID, RFID, radio frequency identification device. What is radio frequency identification? It's when our technology uses radio waves to identify people or object. Object refers to goods. People refers to transporter or supplier or recipient. Then there is a device that reads all the information contained in a wireless device. All the information. How many goods are there? Even nowadays we call it as e-logistics system. You know what is maybe e-logistic? E-logistic refers to movement of goods from one factory to another factory or within the factory without any personal help, without having any human beings capacity. By touching the barcode method of logistic method, just you type the method number or something, you automatically the goods moved from that place and they are delivered from that place. This is what we call as barcode method of logistic management. The same thing is also applicable for this wireless device. Therefore, the transporter should have a copy of tax invoice or a bill of supply prepared according to provisions of GST law. Then format to be built in e-way bill. We'll be having two forms. Form GST WEB, e-way bill, Web 1 Part A. Form GST Web 01 Part B. What is the difference? Part A is applicable for all, but the Form GST WEB 01 Part B is applicable only when the transportation, that is the kilometers, exceed 50 kilometers. If it exceeds 50 kilometers in one site, that is movement of goods from one place to another. If the placement from place and to place, the destination place is less than 50 kilometers, then Form GST WEB 1 Part B is not essential. Only Part A is more essential. Part A is common, whether it's less than 50 kilometers or more than 50 kilometers. But if it exceeds 50 kilometers, then Part B form will be applicable. It's become mandatory. What is Part B? Vehicle number and transport document number first. If kilometers, that is distance, exceeds 50 kilometers. Sir, our movement of goods is nearby 20 kilometers or 25 kilometers, sir. Then it's compulsory, sir. No, it is not compulsory because your area, your distance not exceed 50 kilometers. If it exceeds 50 kilometers, then Part B which will be applicable. So what is the difference between Part A and Part B? Form GST WEB Bill 01 Part A, it consisting of GSTIN of the supplier, GSTIN of the recipient, goods and service stocks identification number. Before you are going to register e-way bill, you should be the registered dealer. You should be the registered supplier. you should be the registered recipient. Then only you are eligible to apply for e-way bill. Where I didn't get any registration, sir, I didn't apply for registration. Then you are not eligible to enter into the e-way bill. Go out from this. You are not eligible. So if you want to convey or if you want to transport any goods from one place to another place and exceed the value of 50,000, you should go for e-way bill. For that, the license form is looks similar to the license GSTN. It's a registered supplier. So GSTN of the supplier, GSTN of the recipient, place of delivery where you are going to deliver the goods. That is destination. Document number, because nowadays all the e-way bill can be generated through SMS. Particularly, document number will be applicable. So, document number, document date, value of goods, harmonized system nomenclature of code. Hsn code is very, very important. There are nearly 4-digit code, we have 8-digit code. So, different code we have, 2-digit code, so different Hsn code are available. And already you attend the classes for Hsn. Hsn is very, very important. It's a base concept before you are going to go for a GST tracking system. So Hsn, harmonized system nomenclature, even is applicable for customs duty. Even is applicable for the excise duty. Nowadays there will be no excise duty, only customs and GST. That's why even in customs duty, Customs Act 1962, it clearly envisages the Hsn, harmonized system nomenclature. Even if you are going to write the examination for GST, Hsn code is very important. 2 marks question. Expand the term ISN, the Hsn, or what is Hsn code. So Hsn code refers to harmonized system nomenclature. So the Union Government, the GST Council, clearly given one code. It may be a 2-digit number, 2-digit code, 4-digit code, 8-digit code, 12-digit code, whatever it may be. The 8-digit code is most applicable for Hsn. The Hsn code, you have to mention the reason for the transportation, or what purpose you are going to transport. Nowadays, last 5 months, during the pandemic, e-pass. E-pass is most popular, and the more persons they get financial benefit from e-pass. It may be original or faulty or fraudulent practice, whatever it may be. So in e-pass, very, very important, I think, is the transportation. For what purpose you are going to move from one place to another? Give me the reason. That this is the reason. This is the reason, you are not qualified. Go out. Because if it is a hospitalized or hospital related or medical related reason or death, then only you move from one place to another. But nowadays, total exemption claim, there will be no e-pass at all. Even 1 or 2 districts adopting the e-pass. Okay. So reason for transportation. For what purpose you are going to transport from one place to another? So these are all the documents. These are all the evidential importance will be the factor influencing part A. Then part B, if the distance not covered, not exceed 50 kilometers, then part B becomes invalid. It is not necessary. It becomes invalid. It's not necessary. Sir, my distance is more than 50 kilometers, 75 kilometers, 72 kilometers, 81 kilometers, 100 kilometers, 125 kilometers. Then you apply for the part B. Then you are going to apply all the information pertaining to part B. So part A and part B plays an important format for e-way bill. So form GST part A, form GST part B. Part B exceed 50 kilometers distance. If not, then part A is small enough. Next. Provisions regulating e-way bill in GST. What are all the provisions? In income tax, we call it as tax provision. In GST, we call it as provisions. Provisions regulating e-way bill in GST. Every registered person who caused a movement of goods of consignment value exceeding Rs 50,000 shall electronically upload information in Part A, GST, EVB, this e-way bill 01, the common part. Okay. So any consignment value not exceed 50,000, e-way bill is not necessary. If consignment value exceeds rupees 50,000, then movement of goods, e-way bill becomes mandatory. First line, first 2 or 3 words, please open your eyes. Every registered person, I've oftenly used the word registered person. Unless or otherwise you are not registered, say example in DG Vaishnav College, based on your 12th marks, based on your 12th performance, admission will be granted. Once you are admitted, immediately the college will allocate you one roll number. So roll number is very, very important for 3 years, even after the completion of 3 years. It's applicable for CA examination, attendance purpose. Then again, one more number will be sanctioned that we call as registration number for the examination. So there will be no connection between roll number and registration number. There will be no way connection. Same things applicable for GST. If you enter into the GST provisions, if you are the supplier, if you are the recipient, if you are the transporter, you should register. You will be getting one 13-digit PAN number. PAN looks similar to the PAN, 13-digit. Next one, if you want to go for e-way bill, if the consignment value exceeds rupees 50,000, then 12-digit account number, 12-digit number will be allocated for you as e-way bill number. So every registered person who caused the movement of goods of consignment value exceeding rupees 50,000 shall electronically upload information in Part A. Then point number 2, for computation of the aforesaid limit, threshold limit rupees 50,000, the consignment value shall be the value declared in the invoice. So only for the computation of e-way bill, you have to mention the consignment value. Say example, 1,25,000, 1,35,000, 1,95,000, 78,000, 83,000, whatever it may be, you have to mention. That is the value of the consignment. Third one, the registered person or the transporter may, its option, can generate e-way bill if the consignment value is less than 50,000. So it is not necessary, it's an option. Once upon a time, 10 years, 15 years back, filing of return was 2 types, voluntary filing of return and the compulsory filing of return. So there will be an option of the assessee, whether we go for compulsory filing or a voluntary filing of return. After some years, 10 years back itself, the income tax department clearly, strictly adhered to the principle stated that all the assessee, whether it show less than the required amount or more than the amount, even if you're going to show 0, you have to file the return. You should file the return. The same thing is applicable for GST. If the consignment value is less than rupees 50,000, then you can go for voluntarily registered for e-way bill. It is not necessary, it's not compulsory, it's not mandatory. It's up to the option of the person, option for the registered person. Then fourth point, where the goods are transported for a distance up to 50 kilometers within the state or United Territories, from the place of business of the consignor may not furnish the details of conveyance in Part B. Last slide clearly explained to you there are nearly 2 forms, Part A and Part B. Part A is applicable for all, Part B is applicable only for the transporter if he covered distance of 50 kilometers plus 70, 80, 90, 100, 100 plus 125, 200, 300, 400 kilometers. If kilometers less than 50 kilometers, it is not necessary to furnish the details pertaining to Part B. Continue provisions relating to GST with regard to e-way bill. A unique e-way bill number EBN shall be made available to the supplier, available to the recipient, and available to the transporter of the farming portal. For multiple consignment, so one day, one time consignment, now okay. We are regularly transporting the goods from our factory to that factory is available in Kanjipuram or Sengalpattu or whatever it may be. So we have more than 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs or even 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs consignment worth of consignments. So we call this multiple consignment. For multiple consignment, the transporter may indicate a serial number of e-way. You know, in accountancy, when called as debtors and creditors, I think you already have the knowledge about others owes to the company, we call as creditors. You owes to, that is company owes to others, we call as debtors. Sundry debtors, sundry creditors, sundry expenses, sundry accounts. What is mean with the term sundry, sundry, sundry? Sundry refers to what? If the company having more than 25 creditors and 25 debtors, it is not necessary to mentioning all the names, Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D. So 26 debtors and 26 creditor, Mr. A to Mr. Z. It's not necessary. So we have to sum total of all 26 members and we can put sundry debtors and sundry creditors. The same thing is applicable for here also. If you have more than 50,000 worth of consignments daily or weekly or monthly, whatever it may be, because as you are the business, it is your duty. One day, it's not a one-man show or one-day show, the daily show. 365 days, you have to consigning the goods. So for multiple consignment, the transporter may indicate the serial number of e-way bill will be generated. Serial number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, going on. Part A form GST e-way bill 1 ensure the registered supplier to furnish the details in form GST 1. That is one of the form number. Don't confuse here. Form 16 for the salaried, that is employees, for form 16. The same thing is applicable for here. Form GSTR 1. It's applicable for the supplier to furnish all the details. Then if e-way bill has been generated without transportation of goods, if e-way bill has been generated without transportation of goods, then the e-way bill may be cancelled electronically on the common portal within 24 hours. Sir, we transfer the goods, but there will be no transportation. It's not applicable. It's not held. We didn't transport anything, but automatically e-way bill was generated. It may be either wrongly pressed or it may be either technical problem, whatever it may be. If so, then within 24 hours. I think you already know the example. Without you swipe your card, the amount will not be withdrawn. If it's so, automatically within 24 hours, the bank will credit the amount. The same thing is applicable for here. If e-way bill has been generated without transportation of goods, then the e-way bill may be cancelled electronically on the common portal within 24 hours of its generation. The unique e-way bill number generated shall be valid for a period of 15 days for updation of Part B of GST. So the unique e-way bill number is applicable maximum for 15 days. But if you registered your name, there is GSTIN, it's permanent. So 33 indicates Tamil Nadu. The number 33 GSTN. If you see the GSTIN of different shops in Chennai, you can see that the 33. 33 indicates Tamil Nadu. So each and every state, they will be their own number. So only is the specification. Okay. Next one. Who are all the persons involved in the e-way bill? Registered person, unregistered person, transporter. Here registered person refers to what? Registered supplier and registered recipient. E-way bill must be generated when there is a movement of goods and the goods value, that is consignment value, more than rupees 50,000 in the value to or from a registered person. We can choose to generate even if the value is less than 50,000, which already discussed the previous slide. Then unregistered person, he also generate e-way bill. However, where a supply is made by unregistered person to a registered person, the receiver will have to ensure all the compliances. So 99% unregistered person generating the e-way bill is not applicable. 99.99% unregistered person not at all do anything. Only the registered person. Then when you are eligible to claim ITC, input tax credit. See, if you want ITC, you have to register. So the second one, it's not at all applicable in current situation, in current scenario. The third one, transporter. If the supplier has not generated, an e-label, then the transporter can carry goods by roadway or railway or railways, whatever it may be. So there are nearly three persons: registered person, unregistered person, and transporter. Again, the registered person subdivided into classification: registered supplier, unregistered recipient. Then third one, transporter. These are all three persons involved in this. Then validity of e-way bill. If you want to validate your e-way bill, what is the time limit? Whether with or without grace time, grace period or grace days. An e-way bill is valid for the periods as listed below, which is based on distance traveled by the goods. So purely the validity of e-way bill depends upon the distance they cover. So validity is calculated from the date and time of generation of e-way bill. Once it generate immediately, you will be getting one e-way bill number. Once you receive the e-way bill number, then you are the registered dealer and you registered for e-way bill. So the distance covered less than 100 kilometers, validity for e-way bill only 1 day. If for every additional 100 kilometers, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 is going on. So for every 100 kilometers, additional 100 kilometers or part, then additional 1 day will be taken into consideration. Additional 1 day, it's not necessary, it's not so important for you to explain more on e-way bill. Okay, next one. Documents or details required to generate e-way bill. What are the documents to be taken into consideration? What are the documents to be included before generation of e-way bill? Invoice, at most important, invoice. Then bill of supply. I already informed you, supply plays an important role in GST. The bill of supply. Then challan related to the consignment of goods. Any challan related to the consignment of goods that will be taken into consideration as document. And transport by road or transporter ID, vehicle number. Transport by rail or ship or air. Then transporter ID, transport document number, and data document number. So these are all the things will be taken into consideration. So transport by rail or transport by airways or shipway, the transporter ID, identification card, identity card, where they'll be having one number. So transporter ID, transporter document number, and date of the document. So these are all the documents to be taken into consideration for generating e-way bill. Okay, e-way bill is not required for to whom goods being transported for LPG supply, liquefied petroleum gas, LPG supply to household. For those people, GST is not necessary. Goods being transported for non-motorized conveyance, for also non-motorized conveyance, any GST, GST is not applicable for. There is e-way bill is not applicable, particularly for LPG or any movement of goods from one place to another for the purpose of supplying LPG, for the supply of non-motorized conveyance. Motor refers to what? In bike, in scooter, in car will be having motor. Without motor, then we call it that for those things e-way bill is not necessary. And goods being transported from customs port or airport or air cargo or land customs station, e-way bill is not necessary. Why? Because it is not applicable for imported goods. I already clearly specified it is applicable if consignment value exceeds 50,000 within bracket except job work, except goods for export, except imported goods. So imported goods. Point number 3, you can match that point. Goods being transported for alcoholic or human consumption, or petroleum crude, or petrol, or natural gas, or aviation turpentine crude. For this thing, e-way bill is not required. Okay. Sir, my consignment value Goods consignment value exceed 50,000, but I didn't generate any EVA bill. Tell me what will be the consequence I will face. I can face it. Section 120 of GST Act 2017, a taxable person who transports any taxable goods without the cover of specified documents shall be liable to the penalty of at least 10,000 for each transaction, not per day or per week or per month or per year. 10,000 is applicable as a penalty for each transaction. Next. What are all the forms we'll be having for e-way? So we have two columns. First column indicates name of the form. Second column indicates the description. For what purpose the form 1, form 2, form 3 and form 4 are used. Form GST e-way bill 1, form GST e-way bill 2, form GST e-way bill 3 and form GST e-way bill 4. For form GST e-way bill 1, e-way bill form, part A details of consignment, part B transporter. First one we already discussed in one slide. A separate slide we discussed. Part A consisting of GST-IN of the supplier, GST-IN of the receiver, consignment, the value, goods, blah 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 information we already discussed. Part B is applicable only when if exceed the distance covered more than 50 kilometers, then part B will applicable. The transporter vehicle number and transport document will take under consideration. Same thing is applicable for this. Then GST form number 2, consolidated e-way bill form to be generated by the transporter. Then form GST 3, inspection report to be filled up by the proper officer. Part A summary report and part B final report. So consisting only of two parts. What is meant by summary report? Full-fledged information pertaining to movement of goods. What is the name of the good? What kind of product you manufacture? Where the goods started? Where the goods going to deliver? Who are all the participants in this goods? That is transaction. Say example, supplier, receiver, the name of the transporter who is going to transport the goods from one place to another, and what kind of transaction takes place, and how many number of days prolonged, whether only weekly ones or monthly ones or weekly twice or monthly twice or daily basis, whatever. So all the information given to the summary report. And final report, some tinkering jobs applicable for summary report, we call as final report. So part A is full and full summary report, part B is full and full final report. And form number 4, form to upload details by the transporter if vehicle detained for more than 30 days. So more than 30 days, if the vehicle detained, then forms to be uploaded by the transporter. So form 1, form 2, form 3 and form 4. Now we are in the final stage of e-way bill today's class. Registration process on e-way bill portal. I already explained to you registration process. If you are the registered supplier, then only you go for e-way bill. Point number 2, if the consignment value exceeds rupees 50,000, again you go for registration. Okay, sir. Sir, what is mean by registration process? I want to show the registration process, the registration form, by which you can understand the forms. We will be having nearly 6 steps to get e-way bill number. What is registration? Once you registered, you will be getting one number. That is for a registration. Sir, I want to go for registration my house property. Sir, I want to register my bike. Sir, I want to register my car. Last week itself I bought from this company or that company. Last week I bought one bullet. Still for registration, not for help for registration. So once you register, you will be getting number. That is what we call as registration number. For e-way bill, we call as e-way bill number. So first one, log into e-way bill system, enter the username, password and captcha code. Click on login. I think it's not necessary to teach you because all the information in mobile and laptops you are well versed. We are the students for you people. You are the teacher and we are the student. Because the students' activation in mobile phone as well as in laptop is more than what we are going to. As we have pressure to take the online classes for last 6 months, we are totally master in the online transaction, whatever it may be. So, username, password, captcha code, you already know. Captcha code consisting of alphanumerical character. It consisting of both small letter and capital letters. So here I want to show how the e-way system works. Particularly how to enter where you are going to enter the username, where you are going to enter the password, where you are going to enter the captcha code and login. See, this is the form. Welcome to taxpayers and transporters of Uttarakhand. Have a nice e-way bill operation. Now, one e-way bill for movement of goods payment between taxpayers of Karnataka, Rajasthan and Uttarakhand. Right side, login, username, password. You will be getting one username and password by which you are going to use all the things. Then see the captcha code 8, caps X, caps Y, again H, caps H. If you are going to type this information, automatically the login login dialog box will be opened and it becomes active. Then you can touch the login. This is the way by which you are going to enter into the e-way bill. Step 2. Click on generate new under e-way bill option appearing on the left side of the dashboard. So previous one, you type the username, you type the password and you type your captcha code. Once you type the captcha code, again the login box will open. Once the login box open, immediately again you are going to touch this dialog box. This dashboard will be open. So first one, e-way bill. Again, the e-way bill subdivided into 5 classification, 6 classification. If you want to generate new, just you type generate new. If you want to generate bulk, I already informed you that multiple consignment, where you can do, see, I manufactured so and so tons of products. I already sent 6 lorries full of goods from Chennai to Kanjipuram or Chennai to Sengalpet, wherever it may be. So 6. For 6, it is not necessary to generate new. For 6 times, it's not necessary. One generate bulk. Automatically, all the information will ask you. So, if it exceeds 50 kilometers, I have to type 6 names, transporter name, 6 vehicle name, number, and all the information. So, automatically, then update vehicle number, cancel, print e-way bill number. Then step number 3. Once you type captcha code, login will open. Again, login, generate new, you have to select. Enter the following field on the screen that appears. This is very, very important. This is e-way bill form, entry form. Indicates, that is red color indicates mandatory refers to compulsory field of e-way bill and indicates mandatory field of GSTR 1. GSTR refers to goods and service tax receipt 1. Then transaction type, outward or inward. Subtype, it is supply or export of job work or whatever it may be. You have to mention. If it is of supply, then you click supply. Then you have to type document type. What kind of invoice, what is. Then document number. Then document date when you are going to transfer. So this is a very, very important thing which you have to type for the next process. Step 4, item details. Add the details of the consignment. If you want to add any other consignment details, then you can add. Say example, product name, what are the name of the products, then you can mention the description. Then Hsn, very, very important thing. That's why it clearly mentioned red. Harmonized system nomenclature code. This is Hsn code. The quantity, unit, value or taxable value in rupees, tax rate, just amount is there, then total amount, The total amount again subdivided into two classification, CGST and SGST. If the goods move from one state to another, say example from Tamil Nadu to Karnataka, then CGST and SGST will not be applicable. Only IGST will be applicable. If you want to transact or move for goods from Chennai to Coimbatore, then CGST and SGST applicable. IGST amount will not be applicable. So cess amount is that, then add cess amount. Then total amount will come. This is what we call as tax rate. Then step number 5, transporter details. I already informed you the mode of transport, either it may be roadway or railway or airway or shipway, and the approximate distance covered so and so kilometer needs to compulsory mention this part. Apart from above, either of the details can be mentioned, either transporter name, transporter date, transport document number and date, or vehicle number in which consignment is being transported. If you are going to mention the vehicle number, automatically transporter name and transporter ID will come. If you are not mentioned vehicle number, if you mention transporter name, transporter ID, transport document, automatically the vehicle number will come, which is not necessary to either this or that you have to type. So this is the way by which the details of the transporter clearly specified. Which mode you are going to move the goods? Roadways, roadways, railways, railways, airways, airways, seaways, seaways. An approximate distance in kilometer. For what purpose they are going to mention this dialog box? Then only you are going to mention vehicle number. If it exceeds 50 kilometers, then you have to mention the name and the name of the transporter and vehicle number. That's why they open the box. Then the name of the transporter, then the ID number, then transporter document number and date. The two dates are given, sir. For what purpose, sir? If it exceeds more than 200, 300 kilometers, then it covers 2 days or 3 days to reach the destination. That's why they mentioned 2 days. Then part B, vehicle number. For part B refers to what? If it exceeds 50 kilometers. Last step. Click on submit. The system validates data entered and throws up an error if any. Otherwise, your request is processed and the e-way bill is form of e-way bill number 1, consisting of 12-digit number. I already informed you that if you are registered in GST to get GST number consisting of 13 digits, whereas e-way bill consisting of 12 digits. Next slide clearly gives you the clear picture of e-way bill. So 5 steps you successfully submit. 5 steps you are clearly include all the information pertaining to the questions. Once you type all the 5 steps, a separate dialog box will open. That screen, it clearly is a slip. The invoice is a voucher, is an acknowledgement, whatever name it called. See, this is the way. This is, if you want to print, just you print e-way bill. So e-way bill is looks similar to that code. Paytm or Google Pay, whatever it may be. See, that's then e-way bill number 18100000001348. So 12-digit number. E-way bill date, in which you are going to transfer. Time 2.25. Then generated by which company generator. This clearly a name. Valid from, valid to, maximum 15 days. That's why clearly mentioned 15 days. In my slide, one of the word clearly specified the unique identification number for e-way bill. It's applicable maximum for 15 days. So 15 days clearly specified. So it's not necessarily daily you are going to do it. Then part A and part B. Part B consisting of GSTIN of register, the supplier and recipient. Then place of delivery, invoice challan, invoice date, value of goods, Hsn code, reason for transportation, transportation number, transportation name, transport document number and transport document date. If your movement of the goods and distance covered more than 50 kilometers, then you have to go for Part B, that is vehicle number, transportation log, by which we complete the forms of e-way bill. This is the current updation. Just I want to share with you people pertaining to our e-way bill validity time. So validity of e-way bill has been extended till November 30th. The Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs. The Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs (CBIC) extended the validity of e-way bill till November 30th, 2020, while extending the due date for certain compliances under customs, central excise, and service tax laws till the same date. So November 30th will be the last date for the any payment of e-way bill or any examinations of e-way bill. The extension is valid for e-way bill issued pre-lockdown, the validity of which was subsequently extended several times since lockdown began in March end. See, because temporary lockdown, permanent lockdown. First 3-4 months permanent lockdown. Then the relaxation came into existence, the COVID-19 pandemic, the lockdown. In the month of August, the first week of June, for some relaxation. July, some relaxation. Then August, some relaxation. In September, even Sundays there will be no lockdown. So these are all the some tremendous growth came into existence in lockdown period. So what are the implications takes place in e-way bill? So that's the thing I want to explain. Then continue. Easing the validity time limit of e-way bill documents needed for transportation of goods more than ₹50,000 in value, which helps industry for facing labor problem or any transportation issue, transportation problem, only to control the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. The extension also applies to completion of any proceedings or passing of any order or issuance of any notice under the provisions of GST, IGST, and UTGST, Goods and Service Tax, Integrated Goods and Service Tax, and Unitary Goods and Service Tax Act. So the extension is also applicable for these three. From the above slides, it has concluded that a well-designed GST has not only eliminated cascading effect and double taxation, but has also smoothened the functioning of business. It is projected that India will have an increased growth by 2% and will boost revenues for the government because it will affect both manufacturing and service sector. India is a country where there are organized, partly organized, and unorganized sectors, which requires continuous monitoring for better tax compliance and coverage, particularly for the tax evasion, particularly for double taxation, only to avoid the cascading effect on the GST on goods and services. The GST came into existence in well-versed manner. It's the next avatar to the industrialization, privatization, globalization era of industrial policy of 1991. Thank you.
Madam.
Students, any clarifications, any doubts, you can raise in the chat box. With regard to e-way bill, any clarifications, any doubts, you can raise in the chat box. Or if you want, you can unmute and you can talk to the faculty.
Unless otherwise the student have a practical implication in GST, whenever they enter into the business, then only they know the practical problems. I think they don't want to have any doubts on e-way bill. What I said earlier, if you not earn any income, you don't care about the income taxation. The same thing is applicable for any GST, whatever it may be.
Sir, we are shifting houses from one place to another. So do we need to generate e-way bill? I mean,
no.
With the stackers and movers, they are helping us, right?
No. See, it's not applicable for home load or household articles. GST is not applicable, particularly e-way bill is not necessary. Whenever any goods move from one factory to another factory, any goods move from one place to another, only for the supply. There will be no connection between producer and consumer. See, you transfer or shifting the place from one place to another only for accommodation, not for consuming the goods. If you want to consume the goods, then only you are going to apply for the e-way. It's not necessary for any shifting of goods.
Okay, sir.
Any other clarifications, students? Okay. I'll just share the email ID of sir also. You can just get in touch with him for any clarification. Sir, on behalf of the Department of Commerce, Gst Vaishnav College and the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, I thank you for your valuable time. You have elaborated on even the RFID tagging system in your presentation. So, and you have also covered the latest circular with regard to the e-way bill extension up to 30th November to facilitate free trade. Because of the lockdown, no goods have been stranded in many places. So the Honorable GST Council has given they have eased the provisions till 30th November. So I think you have even covered that. It will be useful for the students to know when they talk to anyone, they'll be able to explain these provisions. So thank you for your valuable time, sir.
First of all, I thank you, Rakesh Shankar, for the initiative you takes. See, this is not a first time. I think this is the third time you take the initial steps. So first of all, on behalf of college, on behalf of students, on behalf of teacher, I praise you, Rakesh Shankar, for take the steps. It's not an easy joke to take the steps because you are going to accompany with the institute, accompany the assistants from the institute in association with ICSI, in association with the ICME, you work out this thing. So first of all, the credit goes to you, Rakesh, Professor Rakesh Shankar. So with the innovative and initiative taken by Dr. Rakesh Shankar, the students are more beneficial. In future also, the benefit goes to the students and the teachers. Thanks for the opportunity given by Rakesh Shankar sir and the institute. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank
you, sir.
God bless you. Thanks a lot for the students for the cooperation and coordination. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Students can exit the class. We'll meet tomorrow again by 3:30. Tomorrow on Friday, we'll have Mr. Sarana Prabhu who will be handling the relevant topics. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.